Hello, my brothers and sisters from Africa. How are you guys doing? I hope everyone is fine. And I hope that life is treating you very well. Like I have always said, right? Life is a continuous struggle. And until one gives up, one actually never failed. Let me say this one more time. Until one gives up, one actually never failed. So if you are doing something and that thing is not going the way you wanted, you should look into it to figure out why it is not going the way you wanted. Maybe your approach to that thing might be wrong. Maybe you might be attacking that goal or that dream in a very wrong way. And just taking some few moments to re-examine what that goal is, to re-examine your approach to that goal might be halfway in getting it solved. So please do not ever relent on your effort. Do not ever believe for a second that you are the only one struggling. Most people, if not everyone, is struggling. But the difference is we all struggle in different ways, right? So keep on doing what you are doing. Keep on struggling with what you are struggling with. And believe me when I say this, slowly but surely, success will come your way. So I want us to run through some news stories making the headlines from Africa. Let's get on with it. In alignment with the government's robust industrialization agenda, President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana has inaugurated the Santo Oil Refinery Limited in Tama. The commencement of operations for the 2 million barrels per annual refinery marks a crucial stride in securing Ghana's collective energy future, underlining the effective collaboration between the public and private sectors that facilitated this investment. President Nana Akufo-Addo emphasized that the project, scalable to 5 million barrels per year in its second phase, symbolized more than physical infrastructure. It embodies the nation's resolve to shape its destiny, fortify the economy, reduce reliance on foreign oil, and foster increased investment. This is a very significant move by the Ghanaian people, and I'm so happy to see development coming to Africa, because it's quite a shame that Africa produces crude oil but is unable to refine the crude oil. How can you produce a raw material and instead of processing that material into a finished product, you will ship it abroad and then buy finished product? Does that make any sense? This is the same thing going on through Africa. African countries only ship raw minerals abroad and then buy finished products. How can Africa grow and prosper when we only ship raw minerals? Because remember, industrialization is a very giant step of helping the economy grow. When there are factories, when there is manufacturing, people can have jobs. When people have jobs, they can take care of themselves and they can pay taxes to the government that the government can use to create or provide social facilities to the people. Manufacturing is a very important component of the economy. And most African economies are suffering today because Africa does not manufacture things in a larger scale. All we do is harvest our raw minerals and then export them abroad, only to buy finished products from the Western world and from China. That does not help us grow. So to see Ghana moving ahead to creating this refinery is a very, very significant step for the country and the continent. Sometimes I admire what China is doing in Africa. I admire what the Chinese are doing in Africa. Like I have said before, my only reservation about China and the Chinese is that they are smart people. And if Africa is going to deal with them, Africa must do her homework. Africa must understand that Chinese are smart, and so Africa must come to the table well prepared. If not, then Africa will be taken advantage of. And you cannot blame the Chinese. If Africans do not do their homework, if Africans do not understand how the game is being played, you cannot blame the Chinese for that. You cannot. So kudos to the people in Ghana. Kudos to the Ghanaian authority. And also, I think that was a couple of months ago, if I'm not mistaken, Dangote also unveiled a huge oil refinery infrastructure in Nigeria. Because this has also been a very serious problem in Nigeria. How can Nigeria be the first oil producing nation in Africa, but cannot boast of a single workable refinery? Nigeria sells crude oil and then import finished product. I don't even understand how that made any sense. But let's move to our second story for the day. South African Airways has made a comeback in the intercontinental market after completely disappearing from the skies in September 2020 due to the impact of COVID-19. The airline, potentially on the brink of a sale with a private consortium taking a majority share, has faced severe criticism from the country's public spending watchdog regarding its financial management. Auditor General Sakuni criticized the credibility of SARS financial statements from the 2018 to 2019 financial year, highlighting staggering losses of $1.2 billion over 4 years. Interim CEO John Lamola countered, asserting that the airline's current position under new management has improved. Lamola stated that the most recent financial year shows SEA running on financial resource generated from its operations, demonstrating its ambitions. SEA reopened routes to Sao Paulo, Brazil, and is now selling tickets for long-haul flights to Perth, Australia, marketing its return to intercontinental destinations after 3 years following a surprise profit in September 2021 when it emerged from voluntary business rescue. So South Africa is making a comeback, and this time they are coming well prepared. And the past few years during the COVID-19 period was a very, very troubling time, especially for airlines, because everything came to a grinding halt. But we hope that as people start getting back to their activities and as people start making traveling more frequently, the airline would get back on its own feet. But let's move on to our next story for the day. The junta in Niger has removed 15 members of the European Union's capacity building mission, EUCAP. Brigadier General Mohammed, Niger's interim minister, stated that those individuals arrived in Niamey on various flights on January 24 without prior notification to the government. He confirmed their expulsion from Niger on January 26. Niger has stated that the ECOWAS mission, which consisted of 120 security officers assisting in strengthening Niger's forces, was terminated in December after more than a decade in collaboration. Like I have said before, I believe in self-governance. I believe in the ability of the Nigerians taking their own destiny into their own hands. I believe that only Nigerians can fix Niger, not the Europeans, not the Americans. If they're in Africa, they have a reason to be there. If they're in Niger, it is what they are benefiting. It is because of what they are benefiting from Niger, and not the other way around. The European will never come to Africa just so they can help Africa grow. No, 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 no. That's what they told us, but it is a big lie. They are in Africa because of what they are getting from Africa. And I'm so happy that these Sahel nations are taking their own destiny into their hands. They are making significant steps to look after themselves and their people. Now, we are still on the early stages in this whole thing. We do not know how it will turn out to be, but it is a chance we are all willing to take. Because for far too long, we've worked together with the Europeans. We've collaborated with them. And what did we get out of it? Nothing. France was in the Sahel for 10 plus years, all in the name of fighting jihadis. And until the day they left, we still had many jihadist groups operating in the Sahel. And the Americans are there. What are they doing? The Europeans are there. What are they doing? All these military officials are there. But yes, the problem still remains. It's still there. So what is the point of having these officials if they cannot solve the problem that Niger is facing? What's the point of having them there? You know, I have told you before, and let me just say it one more time. In order for you to get the respect you deserve, in order for people to treat you like an equal, you must do things that portray you as someone who is capable of bagging their own luggages. You must do things that portray you as someone who can take care of his or her own affairs. You do not have to run to the Westerners with the least problem. You have to learn to tackle your own problems by yourself. And that is exactly what the Sahel nations are doing. Let's give them time to see how all this play out. But you know what? Let's move on to our next story for the day. The African Union issued a call on Tuesday for constructive dialogue between the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the junta-led nations of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, all of which have recently declared their intention to withdraw from the regional bloc. This development, announced on Sunday, presents a challenge to ECOWAS' ongoing endeavors for regional integration, particularly after the suspension of the three countries following recent coups. The AU chairperson urged regional leaders to escalate dialogue between ECOWAS leadership and the three nations and extended the AU's readiness to assist in facilitating the process. Well, I think that this is a done deal. These nations want to pull out, and can you blame them? You know, for long now, they have been sanctioned by ECOWAS, and the sanctions have really affected the people. If ECOWAS was really looking out for the people, if ECOWAS really cared about fellow African brothers and sisters, they would not place sanctions on these countries. I have said it before that these countries did not invade their neighbors. No, they didn't do that. These countries are not having a civil war within themselves. No. The military is not fighting themselves. No. They only said that we are tired of having French influence in our affairs. And we just want France out. Simple. It would be better if France leave quietly. Simple. France has been here for 10 plus years all in the name of fighting jihadists, and yet still we have jihadist movement all over the place. The peace and security they promised us, they haven't delivered. So why should we have them here? And this is a very logical argument to make. This is a very understanding argument to make. If someone promises to do a job for you, if someone said, hey, listen, bro, that problem you are facing, I can help you solve it. And you'll be like, okay, come in. Come on, please help me. I'm dying. Solve the problem for me. And that person came in, stayed with you, and years go by, the problem still persists. Are you going to keep that person or fire them? Would that person be considered as someone who has been very effective in their obligations and functions? If they cannot deliver on what they promise, isn't it but normal to kick them out? And that is exactly what the Sahel nations did. And one would expect ECOWAS to side with the Sahel nations. One will expect ECOWAS to take the lines that the AU took. Just let this country be. Just let them do their things. Just look for ways to negotiate with them. Look for backdoor channels. Help them. Provide aid to them. Ask them what they want. And look for a way to collaborate with them. But ECOWAS was like, no. We cannot tolerate this. We cannot allow you guys to have self-determination. We cannot allow you guys to break out of the shackles of the French. So we are going to team up with the French, the Westerners, to punish you. You see Africans? You see Africans. Tinubu Bolai was there, putting sanctions in place against Niger. After knowing what Nigerians are going through, after knowing what Nigerians have gone through in the hands of France. But yesterday, Tinubu and ECOWAS were ready to punish Niger for trying to take back their own country from Westerners, from trying to take back their country from the French. Do you know how much French was making from the Sahel? How much gold they were harvesting in Burkina Faso? Or how much uranium they were harvesting in Niger? Or how much gold they were taking away from Mali? Some people have even speculated that the Westerners, aka France, never wanted the whole insurgency thing to die down, allegedly. Mali has accused France for supporting the rebels that are destabilizing Mali, allegedly. So this is what I tell you, my brothers and sisters. We, the Africans, must be united.